Yeah, it all sounds good. Just give me 24 hours though.
Stop. Do you ever get these objections? Like, think about it, fear objections and price objections. That simply means that you haven't built enough urgency in the discovery. Because if you did build enough urgency, why should they need to go think about it? They'll do it right now. So in this episode, we're gonna go over questions that we used to build urgency that took us way too long to learn.
Yeah.
So what? First question to you: why should we even like build urgency? Like, why not just objection handle that bitch later?
I mean, you can objection handle, but how good is your objection handle in the first place? If you already got that objection in the first place, I mean, it shows that you're really not a good objection handler, in my opinion, right? And based on my experience as well. What about you?
Well, objection handling, I think objection handling is one of those things where it takes some time to develop.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, like with sales skill set, it all takes time. The thing of objection handling is like, here's what I realized. A lot of times too, people need to learn the word tracks and the skill set, right? But also, it takes time to have that. How do you call it? Like the balls to actually like challenge that person, and sit there. Yeah. That's something that takes time too, because sometimes, a lot of times, like people are too friendly and too nice to actually challenge the prospect. Yeah. I'm not saying be combative and confront them, but in a way that, you know, if your friend's doing cocaine out of nowhere, right, and then doing like a stripper's butt crack, you're gonna be like, hey man, let's talk about it. Like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, and another thing too, I was reviewing a sales call the other day with the new rep that came in, and there was no pain in the discovery. Yeah, the prospect's like, yeah, I just want to like make more money, and then I think it could be like, I have some time on my hands, so I think it'll be a good thing to kind of look at. So there's no pain, and then there's no future pacing of the goal, meaning that's how life will look like differently. No emotions pulled out. There's no consequence. There's no why now. And then later on, he tried to consequence them, and he tried to objection them later on. So what this prospect said was like, oh, you know, like I'm a chef, and you know, I run also a social media marketing agency, and also do some like events work here and there, and then I just want to check this out. It's like a biz offer. And then later on, he's like, yeah, okay, I'll have to think about that. I'll get back to you. And then the rep tried to objection handle. It's like, yeah, bro, but you know what happens if you keep doing the SMMA thing? He's like, well, then I'll just keep doing SMMA. Yeah, but bro, like, what happens at that point? He's like, well, I'll just keep it. So it kept going on and on and on. It was going nowhere. So what happened there? There was zero leverage.
Yeah.
So there's nothing for you to objection handle on, because if you did the discovery well, then now, okay, first of all, you can prevent more objections.
Yeah.
But later, if you do get an objection, you have more leverage points, right? Meaning that, okay, maybe the person told them that they hate their job because they feel stressed out, they're not making enough money, right? If you dig deep enough, or they told you that like they really want to make that money because they want to retire their parents. It's so important to them because their parents are getting older. Yeah. Now you have something to objection handle on it. But if you don't have that, it's like you're trying to like scrap things out of thin air.
Yeah.
You know?
I 100% agree with you, because I've trained about, I think, like 200 plus at this point when it comes to sales reps, 200 plus sales reps at this point. And one of the common things that I've seen, I don't know who's teaching this, but people try to get an overarching outcome, like a tangible outcome in the very first question.
I do.
I mean that's fine. That's good. You know, I do that as well. You know, but after that 2 or 3 questions, they ask, why is it important for you to fix this now? Dude, like you haven't gotten even the problem yet.
Yeah.
Like, why is it important for you to? Why is it important now? Like, it doesn't freaking make sense.
Fix what?
Fix what? Like, why is it important to get on the program now? Like, program is not the leverage, by the way. You're not selling a program. You're selling the solution based on their problem. Then if you're selling that, then you have to understand what their problems are first, right? And without leverage, your why now questions, which you're intended to add urgency because all the sales gurus told you to ask that question, why now, why not later, it's not gonna land. Yep. Like, why now? I don't know. Like, that's why I'm on the call here today.
I saw the ad.
I don't know. I just saw the ad. Well, I just saw Iman Ghazi like selling some bullshit, so I decided to do it as well.
Love it, Iman.
We're OnlyFans, you know.
Yeah.
I decided to do OnlyFans for agency right now. You know, I just made up my mind. Let's do it. You know? So you need to have tangible problems, and where the urgency is amplified, it's not future pacing or the problem stage, but in the consequence stage. And for me personally, it's controversial, but I like to ask my consequence questions twice in the discovery phase.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I've taught by, again, kudos to Marco. Marco taught me that. And I was like, actually, Marco taught me to consequence the problem awareness. Like that's how he likes to do. And he was like, hey, like if you want to do it, do it. If you don't, you don't. And I was doing that. And then I have my own phase when it comes to, I call it the pre-handling phase because in the NEPQ structure, it's the solution awareness phase, like where you're out there looking for different ways, but I don't ask that question anymore. I phrase it a different way. And then from that on, what I do is I get some leverage. I pre-handle their internal mindset or external responsibilities, shift it into internal responsibility. And then from that on, in that phase, I ask, okay, do you feel like now's the time to take responsibility and fix their situation? Or do you feel like you want to just give it some time? And at that point, I know what the answer I'm going to get is like, oh yeah, June, July, now's the time. I can't keep on going this. And then I ask, why do you feel like now's the time within you though? Because a lot of people like to give movie quotes. Oh, I'm not getting any younger, or I'm like, now or never, right? And I'm like, I'm not settling for that answer. So I'm like, why is now the time to put a line in the sand within you though? And I like to get an internal answer, and I like to pause before I ask within you, because I want to emphasize on within you. Because again, I'm not gonna settle for answers like, well, now or never. Like I want to get more of a tangible problem type of answer. And that why now, and amplify that. And plus, in that sequence, just before I ask that, I ask, well, what happens if you keep on selling yourself short? What happens if you keep on staying in your comfort zone? Because I expose a real objection over there. It'd be like, okay, so knowing that the comfort zone has been costing you XYZ, what happens if you keep on settling for that and selling yourself short, staying in the comfort zone? And at that point, they're like, the urgency is amplified. Then I do you feel like now's the time? Why do you feel like now's the time within you? And are you open to me holding your feet or holding your hand to the higher standard? Why though? Because accountability can be difficult. And that's how I wrap it up over there. And there are a few more advanced questions that I plug in to amplify urgency and to make my objection handling super easy, because even though you do your call perfectly, there are people that will never buy from you, or people will still give you objections. So I add on a whole bunch of urgency over there. I'm basically sub-communicating that I'm going to fucking objection handle with you later down the road if I need to. And then when the objection happens, I'm like, well, we talked about this already. Are you seriously telling me that it's okay for me to have you go think about it then? That's the sub-communication. That's what I'm sub-communicating with these people through how I do things. What about you?
Yeah, for sure. And we'll go into some role play so people can see like how it works, right? But I just want to make sure we're not telling people to not work on objection handling. Work on objection handling 100%. We're just saying that how to make it more effectively, because you're gonna sit in the discovery anyway, right? You have the hour to talk to that person anyway. Why not make your moves more strategically, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of that, like adding urgency, like it starts from the top of the call, right? So a lot of people think that it starts from like the consequence, cost of inaction, whatever fancy terms people use nowadays. But it starts from the top. Like, what is the overarching outcome this person wants?
Yep.
Right? So do they want to make more money, have more time? As a business coaching example, you want to go more specific, right? So I call it the improvement offer, right? So a biz op is a new opportunity type of offer. We're doing a working a 9-to-5 job. Oh, new thing, trading, Amazon FBA, right? So in that case, you can get more broad with your outcomes, like make more money, have more time, because they may not know that they need to improve the conversion rate optimization on the fucking Amazon store, right?
Yeah.
So with the business coaching example, though, it's like they're already doing that thing. So you want to be something more tangible, right? It's like, I need to get my sales reps to close better. I need to get better leads, right? Our fulfillment needs to be more optimized, yada, yada, right? So it starts with that, because if you don't know, then now it becomes more wishy-washy for you to go later down the line. For example, if you don't know what this person needs help with or what the outcome they want. Let's say this person wants to have more time, right? If you don't, then it may be more, kind of shooting in the dark when it comes to problem finding, right?
Yeah.
Or if this person, because whatever the person says they want is typically the things they feel they lack, which is why they want that thing, right? I'm drinking this water right now.
Wow, so hot.
Because I feel a bit dehydrated, right? There we go. So that's why. So you got to get that, and then, okay, you got to find the tangible problem, how it's affecting it. Later on, you future-paced goals, you get consequence. But enough with the yapping. Let's go into role play, and then we can break it down after.
Sure.
How's that? All right, cool.
Let's do that.
All right, cool.
And before we get into role plays, one thing that I want to mention also on top of that is The reason why you need to train not only in discovery is because you're doing the discovery in the first portion of the call, which is really important, is because discovery is way more predictable than, because objection handling is not really that predictable, really, because there's so many different ways that like a prospect can throw you over because they're now like giving you bullshit, like any type of bullshit they can throw you, But discovery is really way more predictable than objection handling. So start with the predictables first, then later down the road, then develop your strength when it comes to, the unpredictables from there. But yeah, let's do role plays from here.
Okay. You be the closer. I'll be the prospects. Okay. And what should we sell today? How about let's start with the good old biz up, right? So let's say it's a trading, right? It's a hot topic these days. So I'm someone in a 9-to-5 job, and maybe I saw someone on Instagram, and then I was talking with them, and then he said, "Hey, you should book a call." And then, okay, cool. Now I'm here. I want to make more money with trading.
Yep. How long have you been wanting to get out of your job so they can actually spend more time with the kids?
I think like 2-3 months.
2-3 months?
Yeah.
Okay, so about 69 days.
Something like that.
And what have you tried during the last 90 days so far to get the results that you want?
Nothing really. This is the first. You guys are the first company I looked at. I don't know. I've just been doing research. I've been.
No, but for real though, why not though?
I'm just trying to make sure which business model is the best for me, because everyone's saying that their business model is the best one, but I'm just trying to do my due diligence and what's going to be the best for me, really.
Yeah, and whatever people say, it's not 100% your fault that you have this decision fatigue, I guess. But you having your current problem right now, which is not being able to spend more time with the kids, whose problem is to solve at the end of the day?
It's mine, yeah.
And knowing that it's your problem, coming from extreme ownership perspective, aside from the research for a second, what's really slowed you down within you during the last 60, 90, or even the last 9 years?
Until now, I never really thought about it.
If you did think about it, though.
No, what I meant is, I never thought about leaving my job. I wasn't too happy, but I wasn't even know this thing was a thing.
What's going on in your job though?
What we talked about. It's just paycheck to paycheck. Salary's not going up, but inflation's going up.
Why not just settle for that though? Because a lot of people do settle.
Dude, it's not fun being paycheck to paycheck.
Okay, so knowing that you've seen something like this during the last 60, 90 days, what have you actually tried though to get out of the results? Because you can do research all day, but where does that lead to at the end of the day though?
Yeah, just making sure what's going to be the best for me, because I don't want to spend a whole bunch of money and it's not working out,
Well, can I share a different perspective if you don't mind?
Sure.
Well, for you, just spending being afraid of spending money because there are a lot of different things. But for you, how will you ever know it's the right thing for you until you actually do it?
Yeah, you got to do it, right?
Right. Because have you ever considered that you just keep on doing research may have potentially slowed you down from getting the results that you want by now, which is, again, being able to spend more time with the kids?
If you put it like that, then yeah.
So, Brian, again, I'm on your side, but what's really slowing you down? Where is that fear of, I guess, losing money or doing the wrong thing is coming from?
Where's that coming from? Just fear of failure, I guess, man.
Fear of failure. Yeah. So I want to acknowledge your honesty, because a lot of people they like to just blame it on something else. They like to blame it on the economy. They like to blame it on not having the resources, or they like to blame it on their, I guess, unsupported partners or parents. But the people that take extreme ownership and are honest with themselves, they're the ones that have potential to be successful because they take control of their own results at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So knowing that it was your fear of failure that got in the way, how does it make you feel knowing that it's been 9 years staying in the same job, even the last 60, 90 days, and you're still in the same spot? So you've been only just researching and just letting fear of failure get in the way?
I know I need to do something.
No, but what I'm asking, that's not the question I asked you. What I'm asking you is, how does it make you feel knowing that it's been 9 years or even 60, 90 days? You're still in the same spot because it was no one slowing yourself down, but it was you yourself slowing yourself down.
Yeah, I mean, I just gotta take accountability for myself, but it's yeah, I think I wasted some potential. You know,
How much potential have you lost?
I mean, it's hard to quantify that, but
In terms of time, potential, I mean, income potential with your family, how much time have you lost?
you know, like if I could be making 10 grand a month, I'm making 5 grand a month now, so that's 5K a month, right?
Okay, you got a family, right?
Yeah,
got
wife
kids?
and 2 kids.
Wife
Yep.
and 2 kids. And how old are your kids right now?
One's 5 and one's 7.
Okay. And how much time, because you've been in your job for 9 years, like how much time do you spend in your job, by the way, per week?
Work about 45 to 50 hours a week.
Okay, and how much time does your kids get per week from their dad?
You know, I never counted.
If you did count it, though. I mean, you're talking with the Asian dude here right now.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
human
yeah.
calculator.
No, I get it.
So if you're working like 45 hours a week, which is like 9 hours, 5 days a week, how much time does your kids actually get from their father? Considering that you sleep like, let's say like 7, 8 hours a day.
I probably spend. I see them a little bit in the morning for maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. Then I'm just rushing off to work, and then I get back home, and then at the point, usually they're already sleeping or they're about to go to bed. So I'll see them maybe for another my 30 minutes.
I guess your kids don't really know that they're dad's absent. I guess they're too young for that.
Maybe. I mean, I think kids kind of know, you know.
Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, they're 5 and 7, right? They're not like a brand new newborn, so I'm sure they have some idea what's going on.
How does their kids feel about their dad only able to spend about that many hours with them?
I don't know if they think about the hours, but I think they definitely like to spend more time with their father for sure. Yeah.
But what happens if you keep on letting fear of failure get in the way? You keep on selling yourself short.
Then, I mean, yeah, I mean, my same thing will keep happening, right?
What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm just not spending more time with my kids. And, you know, I don't want to be absent in my children's childhood. For
And
sure.
how are you planning to overcome your fear of failure so that you can actually be more for kids?
Yeah, I mean, I just got to get over it, right? I mean, there's no
But
other.
how?
I don't. I guess I just got to go with something because, you know.
And do you feel like now's the time to put a line in the sand? Because it's not about doing something. It's about you committing and putting a line in the sand for you and your family. Do you feel like now's the time to commit to yourself? Or do you feel like you need some more time? Like, I don't know, after Christmas or the New Year's like the other unsuccessful people do?
No, I mean,
Why do you feel like now's time within you?
I think it's long overdue. You know, I've been at this job for 9 years now.
Long overdue?
Yeah, I've been at this job for 9 years now, and you know, if I keep staying here, nothing's gonna change, right? So that's why I'm here.
Are you open to me then holding your hand to the higher standard so you don't have to waste another 9 years or last 2 to 3 months?
Yeah, for sure.
Why though? Because accountability can be difficult.
It is, but I mean, I play sports growing up, and you know, I play football, and you know, we don't want the coach to just say, "Hey, you're doing a good job," and if we're not, right? So I'd rather hear the honest truth.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the honest truth from you then. What is your higher standard? Like, what do you want to be making in the next 3 to 6 months down the road?
All right, cool. We can pause it there.
Cool.
So I was being very difficult on purpose.
I'm getting nervous actually over here.
So you have to pull shit out of your back pocket, but break down your thought process behind that.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm always brain fogged with this, but my thought process was I went a little sidetrack when it comes to my own traditional word track because with my students, I teach a standard word track, but I decided to be a little bit more flexible, show that you can just do different ways, different things, you know. And I start with a, have you ever considered the typical Jeremy Minor line? Have you ever considered that way of thinking has only slow you down? But you're like being vague about it. So I had to ask you one more time to get the answer. Don't, like one thing that you want to do in your sales calls, never move on until you get the answer that you want or needed for that prospect. So I asked one more time, and there are things that threw me off. But I was like, I wasn't like flustered or anything. I'm a stutterer, so I stutter, but I wasn't flustered or anything. It's more like, okay, let me recollect my thoughts, think over this, shoot my next move strategically from here, and help this guy as much as I can. So that was the mentality and mindset behind it. Now, what I had to do was more like an identity selling. Now it's like, okay, well, this is your problem. Do you want to be that father? Now, I wanted you to come to your own conclusion. So how do you plan on overcoming that way of thinking? Or how do you plan on overcoming that so that you can actually get to XYZ results? That was my whole thought process. And from that on, I mean, you can see me consequencing you, trying to get an emotion out of you. I asked you, how does it make you feel knowing that it's been 9 years and it was no one slowing yourself down, but you yourself slowing yourself down? So when I got that, you're feeling not good, and then I try to get an like an emotion out of it, and I consequenced you over there as well. What happens if you keep on doing that way? You gave me a very vague answer. It's like, nothing's gonna happen. I was like, but what does that look like though? I probed into it one more time because I want to get a tangible out of it. Because the more tangible the problem is, the more urgency there's added to it. One thing I wanted to add on more because I think it's the role play and your natural demeanor, but you're like still like, I can hear from the tonality that's like, yeah, you're not taking it seriously. So what I added on a little bit more was the time aspect now. Okay, because definitely it's a lack of urgency within you that slowed your results down. So what I wanted to add on was, I tried to be a little bit more creative in the end was, well, okay, how much time are you spending in your job? Contrast to how much your daughter's getting from her dad. So from that on, I was like, hey, well, you're no longer you're no longer gonna be the cool dad anymore. You're gonna be the dad that, like, when she hits puberty, you're no longer gonna be that, buddy or the big guy anymore, right? So, and then I added on a little bit of frames of saying it's not the job that counts, it's the memories that we have with our family that really matters at the end of the day. And what's more important? Well, knowing that it's more important, is that worth you putting a line in the sand? And then that was my thought process. And then from that on, I went in. I still felt like I still needed to keep you a little bit more accountable, the way you just, like deliver yourself and everything. So I was like, okay, are you open to me holding your hand? I don't know the grammar behind this, honestly.
Holding your feet to the fire. I think that's what it's called.
I usually in the call I say, are you open to me holding you to the higher standard though? Yeah. Because that's just my belief system. Like, we live the life that we deserve in our standards, So are you open to me holding your hand to the higher standard? Are you open to me holding your hand to the higher standard? And then I add on a little bit of future pacing. Are you open to me holding your hand to the higher standard so that you don't have to waste another 9 months, 9 years, or 3 months? And then you were like, no one says no, honestly, at that point. So I had to double check on that. Why though? Because when I keep you accountable, it's going to be difficult. And you'd rather not say yes. You'd rather want to say yes. You'd rather want to say no. Why do you say yes? And then you were like, I would rather be told what I need to do. That was the answer, what I was looking for, because now it gives me ammo to objection handle with you later down the road. Because what I'm communicating with you is that I'm not fucking letting you hang up on me. I'm not hanging up on you though, right? And then from that on, I naturally progress into, okay, well, future pacing. What is your higher standard? Like, what do you want to be making the next 3 to 6 months for you and your kids then? But it wasn't easy for me. I kind of got out of touch. I'm still doing sales calls, by the way, but I don't think that was bad at all.
That was good. So I remember Will Odoms from Sniper one time, he said responsibility adds urgency. Because if the prospect doesn't have responsibility, the prospect's like, yeah, I mean, maybe it's the government, maybe it's my wife, it's my boss. And so they have no urgency to do anything, right? But if you narrow down the responsibility to like, oh, it's me. Like, I got to be the one to do it. So why you did well was now, okay, cool. Like, your kids, right? What about like, don't they deserve more? Like, don't you deserve more? It's like, yeah. So like, you bring it to like them. And so now because they have more responsibility, the urgency increases, right? So it doesn't only happen in like the problem section or the consequence section, but it also happens there as well.
Yeah. What I want to add on one more on top of all of that is what I did over there was I kept up probing a little bit more to get a actual internal reason on why you're slowing yourself down. So you start with skepticism. So I asked you, where is that skepticism coming from? Because I want to understand the program behind that person, right? And then you told me, and then in the end, we figured out it's fear of failure, like fear of losing money, which is fear of failure, same thing.
Yep.
And then once I got it, what I did add on from there was I empowered you right away in terms of, hey, I want to acknowledge your honesty, because a lot of people out there, and just like the you versus us versus the world frame, where it's like, hey, that's what successful people do. They take extreme ownership, and the ones that always blame it on something else and aren't dishonest with themselves are the ones that will never make it. But you have the potential to make it because now you're being honest with yourself. So what I just once you agree with that frame, like in a real life sales call, when I do that, they're always being like, they'll double down and be like, yeah, it was me myself slowing myself down. When 20 seconds before they were like, oh, it's the government's fault, it's my mom's fault. But once I actually give them a little dopamine strike and plant that identity, they're like, yeah, it's my fault. They double down on it. And once I plant that frame, for you, it's a role play, but for you, it's going to be very, very difficult for you not to take extreme ownership, because I gave you that dopamine strike and you want to be on that box now.
Yep.
You want to play by that game. So every answer that you're going to give me is going to be an honest answer, right? There are different frames, right? There are different frames, for example, like, hey, the successful, unsuccessful, like, hey, like, you're the ones that take the risk taker. Like, I don't do those frames anymore. And we're like the honesty frame. You got to be honest with yourself to be successful. So I do that frame because I want them to be honest throughout the whole entire call with me, rather, so I can deal with whatever bullshit they have,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was good. So I'll go this time, and I'll start from the top. So I'll be closer to your prospects, and give me some vague shit, right, and problem, because I think that's one of the 90% of the time whenever I look at closers, role plays, or call reviews, they're not going deep into the pain, and like they have some trouble like uncovering pain. So there's different scenarios that happen, right? So just be like really, really vague, so we can go through like different loops and different scenarios. Now, I don't know what Jun's gonna do, but
I'm really bad at role plays, though. Really bad at it. But I'll try. I'll try to be the bride over here.
It's all good. So let's do the biz up again, right? Hey Jun, can you see me okay?
Yep.
Cool, man. Well, looks like you booked a call about possibly getting into trading to make more money. Is that right?
Yep.
Cool, brother. Well, do you know what you're looking for when it comes to what you want out of trading?
I'm just looking for a program.
Okay. Well, what kind of outcome are you hoping to get out of that?
No, just, you guys promised me making more money, so
I'll just we didn't pinky promise, so that doesn't count. But do you want to make more money, or what's the outcome that you want?
Everyone wants to make more money, so.
Oh, not everyone. I care about you, man. What do you want?
Make more money, just being able to not look at the price tag anymore, I'll say.
Okay.
That's why I'm here,
Okay. What are you doing for a living now?
Currently, right now, I'm a sales guy,
Oh, okay. Sales guy to sales guy. You like it? Be
like
honest.
what?
Your job.
My job?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
What do you like about it?
I'm just talking with new people every single day. That's really
kind of like how we're doing now.
Yeah.
That's always fun. It's a good job, right? So anything you change about either the type of work you do, or I don't know, I guess a financial or time freedom you're getting from that?
No, just want some extra side income. And if it complements my income and just...
So why not make more money with the sales job you have now, though?
I can, but it's like, I don't want to do more dials. I just want to have more passive income.
Why not do more dials?
That's boring. I just
boring?
work...
What do you mean?
I just work like... I'm the type of guy that I want to get shit done within 8 hours a day. And then from that on, I'll just move on to my personal life,
How many hours a day do you work now?
8 hours a day.
Okay, so why not just work like one more hour? Make more money that way.
No, I don't think the return of investment is there,
What do you mean by that?
It's just like, 1 hour, like, yeah, I can do that, but I'd just rather do something else. I mean, probably I might retire in the next
Okay.
20 years. And in the next 20 years, I want something that is a good passive source of income. Sales, not like that. You know, sales, you have to wake up every single day, like sell new people all the single time. There's no residual in my company. So,
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel motivated every single day, you know?
Besides you feeling motivated, bro, sales guy to sales guy. I know that game. Like, I'm on your team, dude, but like you having to wake up every day, like making the dials, like you have to be there to make more money. I mean, what's it doing to you?
I'm just bored, you know? I want to do
Besides
something.
being bored, dude, if you're bored, you can just go play golf. You know what I mean?
I'm not a golfer.
You can go play chess. So the real talk, man. That was kind of like I'm here to help you, but you know, if you're sales guys don't understand, right? If we don't understand your true problem, then we don't know how we can help you, or anyone can. You know. So what's going on?
I want to make more money so that I can be able to just not look at the price tag, you know?
You're kind of doing that now.
What?
Looking at price tags.
Everything has a price tag, yeah.
Yeah, but like, are you doing that? Looking at price tags.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
For what?
Just like normal groceries or
Yeah.
just the mortgage payment and shit like that.
You ever seen the meme where like you have the groceries at $200, then they haven't scanned the meat yet, and you're like, shit. It's kind of like that.
Grocery has gone up a lot. Mortgage has gone
Yeah.
up a lot. Yes.
Fucking inflation, right?
Just inflation is, I mean,
How much is the mortgage?
I pay about $2K a month
Yeah,
for mortgage, yeah.
that's a bit. So you having the mortgage and you having the grocery, it keeps like inflation is not stopping anytime soon, right? But you keep having to be on the dials. How's it make you feel?
Right, I gotta put in the dials to pay off the mortgage. I'm just like, there's a little sense of anxiety, I guess.
Anxiety? What do you mean?
I mean, I just gotta put food on the table, you know, and gotta make sure that, that I don't get bankrupt, you know. So that's why.
Yeah.
I mean, there are months where I'm like doing really well with sales, and I'm like, oh shit, like I'm making fucking money. But there are months where it's like, I mean, you gotta. I mean, if you're a sales guy, you understand. Like there are months that it's just not doing well.
It's kind of like up and down, like a roller coaster a little bit. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
How long has the roller coaster been going on?
From the very beginning of my career. You know?
When was that?
5 years ago.
Dude, that's quite a while.
That is.
You want to change that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so boom. Just pause there.
Yeah.
How did that feel as a prospect?
It was very like tactful. Like it was very sharp. One thing that I want to add on is that because a lot of like one thing that you really did really well was you don't do the okay or gotcha. Like because I mean we'll do a role play on this, but a lot of sales reps when they're flustered they're like okay gotcha.
Yeah.
And they cannot come up with they literally just their brain gets fucked.
Awesome. So Jun, what I'm hearing is that you hate groceries. Is that right?
Yeah. But there was no such thing as that. It was just like cut to the point, like straight shooter, and be like, it's more like you're coming from a place of, hey, let me wrap my hands around you and be like, hey, like let's just
Sounds
buddy
hot.
talks. Exactly.
Choke you.
Joke. You're into that? Man.
Maybe. Hey,
Be aware with your daughters, you know. Don't have them around Brian.
God is watching.
But that was really good. The probing, instant probing when you hear something instead of letting me ramble. I mean, I wasn't playing Rambler, by the way. I was like playing the opposite, but still
Vague, like nonchalant guy.
big. Not I don't know how I did as a prospect because I'm not a really good prospect now when it comes to sales because I'm really compliant. But I think I was trying to be vague as much as possible. You're like I was like telling you like, hey, it's motivating. It was like doing like this shrug and shit like that. It's like it's nothing, right? And you would kind of like you would not point it out directly, but you're like, but dude, what's really going on? Let's have a real conversation over here. That was the subcommunication that you were. That was just what you were subcommunicating with me the whole entire time, and I felt comfortable enough to give you the answers. And it's very hard to describe, but like I think we call it the swagger. I mean, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The swagger. It's like detached, but also you're sharp. Like you're detached, but you're unfuckable. It's very hard to get out of that because I know you're sharp. and I know you're detached and you act like you don't give a fuck, but you don't you do give a fuck. And it's kind of like a strange balance. I think you can kind of unpack that a little bit more with your own words, but that's what I felt like. This guy has swagger. This guy doesn't give a fuck, even though I throw him off and try to test him. It's like a girl trying to shit test you, right? Oh, why are you so ugly? Or why are you so old? Or why do you smell this way, right? You're like, the way how you respond either gains respect from the woman or lose respect.
Yep.
And the more I was shit testing you, the more you pass the shit test, and it actually gave me more respect for me to open up to you. Now, if you break down your own role play, just we did right now, like how do you unpack that?
Yeah, 100%. It's a really good breakdown. So there's two parts to it, right? So there's the verbals, which is the actual words and the word tracks and all that kind of shit. And the other part is the sub-communication. So sub-communication, a term widely known in the dating space, where it's not the words, but some non-verbals, which goes back to your tonality, your facial expression, your body language, and as woo-woo as it sounds, your overall vibe, right? Which is the thing that June was talking about, the swagger. So the biggest thing people do is like they get flustered, right? Like you talked about. So they're like they don't know where to take the conversation, and because of that, they get lost, or they visibly get irritated or frustrated, and because of that, now the prospect shuts down more and more and more.
Yeah.
Right. Now that's the problem. That's what you don't want to do. So with the theory is the opposite, where doesn't matter what the person says. I'm like, dude, we're chilling. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, so what that communicates is that now like this, it shows to the prospect, to the other person, that this person is high status.
Yeah.
Because if someone's like really happy, it shows that, oh, they don't have problems. Even though they may have like 1,000,001 problems going on in their fucking life, it shows that they're like nonchalant, chill. Like, yeah, dude, like what's going on? Like have a drink. It shows that like, oh, this guy's high status. They're not consciously, logically thinking this. Is that they're subconsciously this going on in their mind. They can't help it. Like we're human beings. It's like evolutionary trigger.
Yeah.
That's one. The other part is the actual word tracks. So what we did was, in a principle sense, I did not let the prospect get away with vague answers. Right. So it's like, yeah, I'm just bored. But bored is like a very like half-ass answer. And dude, besides getting bored, like what's actually going on? Right.
I want to chime in because the way you asked it was a key, though. Hey, buddy, like, really, though? What's going on? Like, that was the swagger that you had. It's because if you try to dig in, like, I mean, it's not wet yet, and you try to dig in, like, what happens, you know? Like, it becomes an argument, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You got to lube it up.
Yeah, you got to lube it up. And I see this so many times with call reviews is it becomes an argument with the prospect and the closer. The closer tries to dig for a problem and he's making it so fucking obvious that the prospect feels interrogated. And for you were able to keep a really good composure where it's like, it didn't feel like you're interrogating me. It was like, but buddy, like what's really going on? Like, come on.
Yeah,
cut the bullshit. Like, what's really going on?
It's crazy how you can say pretty much the exact same thing, but depending on how you say it or how you ask it, you can get a totally different response from the prospect. We've all heard like a gazillion times, like it's not what you say, it's how you say it, but it's actually that. Yep. But let's actually tactically break down like what that actually means, right? So if you go like, okay, but June, aren't you tired from your job? If I ask it like that, it's like, you know, this guy's trying to like dig in for like something, right? So they're gonna feel like they're being taken advantage of or something, so they're gonna shut down. But what I did was with this kind of prospect, you got to tailor your approach to each prospect, right? But this prospect, I'm like, okay, so he's a sales guy. This guy seems more direct, kind of like how I communicate. In that case, I'm going to be more direct, right? So I'm like, dude, come on. Like, I'm a sales, like, I know, like, what's going on, right? It's like the I've been there frame is a really good one I learned from Marco, right? So it's like, you could literally say, hey, dude, I've been there, or it can just, you know, just demonstrate that, like, hey, like, I've been there, right? It's like, dude, like, I know what's going on. Like, what's actually going on, right? So it's like, I know what that's like. So what does it also show? Demonstrates the higher authority because you've been there. Right, it's almost like you solved that problem before.
Yeah.
Right. So that's number one. And then I had a set of questions that I could go to, like I could pull from the back of my pocket whenever they're giving me like a vague kind of response. Right. So I have a whole decision tree mapped out. Right. So I give it to my private students from a real sales system members. A decision tree is when you ask a question. Here's the limitations with sales scripts. Sales scripts are great because it gives you questions to ask. It gives you a roadmap. However, almost no sales conversation goes exactly how the script's written out. It's not when was the last time that happened? It's not, right? So sometimes you ask a question and they say like, well, I'm doing good. Maybe they give you a problem right away, or they're just like, I'm bored, right? Yeah. In that case, like, what do you do? And in each scenario, you better fucking know what to do for each scenario. If it happens to you on a call every day, it still boggles my mind where like a salesperson still like, dude, I get burned before every day. I don't know what to say, and then like, dude, and then let's say like I tell them what to do, and like they still don't know. They still can't go through. I'm like, dude, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
You get this every day on your call. What are we doing, right? So like you don't even need to like execute it like perfectly. At least know what to say. At least memorize it. Yeah. We're not even going over delivery like your pacing and your sub communications. At least fucking memorize it, right? Yeah. But going back to this, okay, cool. So you said I've been bored. Like, well, besides vague half-ass answer, like da 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 da. Right? I was going into that, right? I also said you give me an outcome-based answer. When you go into the problem section, typically what happens is prospect can give you like a problem right away. I'm not making enough money. I'm working too much. I hate my job. Or they can give you an outcome-based answer, which is, oh, I'd like to make more money, which is the thing you gave me, right? I'd like to make more money. In that case, a question you can ask is, why not get outcome with situation? So it's a plug and play. Why not make more money with the job you have now? Yeah. Right? So why not get outcome of what you're doing now? Because it's a logical question, right? I mean, like, if you want to make more money, why not just do that, right? Yeah. So like, okay, why not make more money with the job you have now? Yeah. And then you said, I don't remember exactly what it is. You said something like, oh, I'm just the type of guy like dials, da da da. I'm just like, well, you could do more dials. Yeah. So we're going that thought process, like, and then we eventually got to like, oh, keep being on sales calls, like. I'm a bit anxious. So whenever I got a problem or negative impacts, I probe into it right away. Yeah. Anxious? Anxiety? Yeah. So the sub communication also is very important. If you ask it like anxiety, oh, anxiety. They're like, yeah, anxiety.
And this sounds extremely funny, but it happens.
People do this.
I think they don't even know. But 90% of the time that I do a call review, it's like so robotic.
I used to do this, so I know.
It's same for me as well. Like,
yeah. So, okay, anxiety. So you don't want to let them ramble too much anyway, because like the moment you get a problem, you want to probe straight away. Yeah. Reason for that is because if you wait, then typically what happens in the problem section is this: you let them ramble. Yes, and I feel anxiety and it's so anxious, like grocery bills like going like 2 up. But I mean that's why I'm here, because I wanna fix this. I wanna make more money. What do? They're alleviating themselves from the pain. They're like, that's why I'm here. They're telling themselves, oh, I'm doing good. I'm a good boy because I'm trying to fix this, right? But dude, the problem's not fixed. It's almost like, you ever get those, what is the thing called? Those cardio machines. You buy it and then you never use it. But when you buy it, you feel like, man, I feel so good about myself. I'm trying to lose weight. It's one of those things. I heard people that buy those machines, like 80% of them never fucking use it. Not even once. But they get the dopamine hit, right? So same thing here. So before you get to that point, here's what happens, right? So the buying temperature, the emotion goes up. Yeah, like the anxiety, frustrated grocery bills. But that's why I'm here, because I want to make more money. So before it goes down, you got to go at the peak. Anxiety? Yeah, anxiety because grocery bills. It just keeps going up. Yeah. Right? Yeah. At that point, you can, like, if you got enough, you got to know how deep you go. That's a whole different topic. After that, you move on.
So you got to be quick. But going back to the role play that I've done as a closer, like if you cannot be quick, if you're having brain fog, or if it's like not your best day, sometimes you just can't be quick. Like you have to, but you can't be quick. It's fine. It's okay. Take your time. Just make sure that your next question is strategically just there to make sure that it lands, Yep. And when you ask it, just ask it with full conviction. Like I see this so many times with closers that they ask a question, they doubt themselves, and they lose conviction in that question, and therefore that question doesn't land. Dude, the moment you ask a question, it's done. Like, just rather ask it like 100% like conviction. Because I know, like Marco, for example, his questions doesn't freaking make sense at times. No. But it just works for some reason because he asks it with so much conviction and so naturally that's like the prospect actually guess, okay, actually, oh, this is what you're asking? Yeah. They're like, what? Is that what you actually asked, Marco? Marco's like, yeah, that's what I asked. So it's like if you have the right, like, again, if you display conviction, confidence, and just be also playful in the call, like how you did, like, aside from that, bro, like, what's really going on, though? Like, type of vibe, right? Like, you will get away with a lot of, I mean, even the vague, sophisticated A-type prospects, come on, same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. And if it's a more, let's say it's like an older lady that's like very gentle, then I'd play it a bit different, right? I would be more like the more sincere tone. It's like, Yeah, I mean, Sally, I totally understand, but I talk more like that, right? You ever know those octopuses where they go into the ocean, like when they land on the rock, they change their color with the same thing with the rock, right? Same thing with like chameleons.
Yeah.
It's not like you're being fake. It's just that you're tailoring yourself. You're being socially intelligent. Like that's what it is,
Yeah.
right? In the dating world, they call it calibration. You're calibrating. But yeah, so that's that. Yeah, going back to conviction thing. When I was in the orchestra when I was younger, I know, very Asian. I was like a lead violinist for different orchestras. What the maestro, the conductor, would always say is, whenever you make a mistake, you want to fuck up big, right? So it's because like what most violinists or people do is like they try to like be quiet because like they feel like they're gonna make a mistake. But then, dude, you don't know if you fucked up or how you fucked up. Because like you'd rather go in big and then you see the prospect's reaction. Oh, that was bad. Let me stop doing that. Right? Maybe you need to give yourself enough volume, but like, okay, cool. Maybe I need to ask this, right? Now, this is preventing objections. Now, it's not about like this or that. We talked about Dietrich's, right? So it's not about like objectioning versus prevention, follow-up versus not. No. It's like if you have all those things, you have more advantage, right? So this episode was about how to prevent objections by having more urgency, but you still want to know how to handle objections as well. So we have an episode on how to overcome think about objections, how to handle that. So if you go right here, check it out.